product featured in today's video was provided by Mattel for the purposes of this review. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we're going to be checking out the WWE Elite Collection San Diego Comic-Con 2020 exclusive Mr. T. That is right, my friends. Now look, San Diego Comic-Con obviously is not happening for 2020, but many of the toy companies already had products going into production that were going to be exclusives, so they are finding new outlets to get these exclusives out into the hands of collectors, and one of those, which was just recently announced, was Mr. T as part of the WWE Elite Collection. Really cool stuff, and I'm very excited to check this out. So the figure comes inside of this mailer box here, which is really great because it's red, it's got some nice gold chains, but then it's got like the WWE Elite Collection on like a medallion hanging from the chains. Pretty cool stuff. Inside of that mailer box, though, is this very nice sort of book-styled packaging with a great illustration of Mr. T standing in the ring on the front. I love the Mr. T kind of utilizing the classic WWF font there, which is really cool. You'll notice it's got the first time in the line stamp there. When you flip it around to the backside, we've got some images of Mr. T along with a little bio for the character, and this does fold open, book style. Again, more images over here on the left, and then you can see kind of almost like this frosted plastic window there with Mr. T underneath that, and this is removable. This is actually how we'll pull the figure out of this packaging here, just like that. So there you go. You can see Mr. T's just sitting inside of a plastic tray there. There are some rubber bands holding him in place, but I think what's really nice about this is that if you really want to, you'll be able to pull him out of there and then easily put him back in this plastic tray and put him in here for safekeeping, or if you end up deciding you want to display him like this on the shelf, because this book-style packaging is really nice. It's very sturdy. Comic-Con exclusive packaging is always part of the exclusive. It's what makes it special, right? So it's pretty cool stuff. So there is our Mr. T packaging. Let's go ahead and remove the figure from this plastic tray and get a closer look at him. All right, so we got Mr. T outside of the packaging, and this is part of the 6-inch line, but of course, if I bring in the tape measure here, you can see that he's quite a bit taller than 6 inches. He's actually a little over 6.5 inches, going on 7 inches tall, but does fit in with the rest of your WWE Elite action figures, and he is really cool looking outside of the packaging. I gotta say, he's got tons of accessories, which is perfect, right? Because Mr. T is known for accessorizing with all of those gold chains, all that jewelry, and he looks really fantastic. The outfit that he's wearing here, right out of the packaging, he's got this cloth army print shirt, kind of this camo print shirt, and then the red belt with the gold T logo on there. Plus he's got like the large gold bracelet over on the right hand, the smaller gold bracelet on the left, and then all of these gold chains, which are just one solid plastic piece hanging around his neck here. And of course, that's like a classic look for Mr. T from this point upwards, with the big belt there with the T on it, the army print shirt. You'll see lots of pictures online just looking for Mr. T pictures of him wearing an outfit very similar to that. So that is very, very cool. So all of that is removable, which is definitely worth noting because since this is part of the WWE line, you can remove this, which is sort of like his promo gear or his entrance attire or whatever you want to say, classic Mr. T duds, but you can remove all of that to get him down into his wrestling gear as well, which is a very cool thing with these Elite figures. So there you go. You can see I can remove the gold chains. It's just kind of like a pliable plastic, all one piece there. And then the belt will just unhook in the back. You can see it's just got those pegs just like that, so we can take that off. And then the shirt has Velcro going down the front, and then we can just kind of slide that off the figure's arms there. You might need to remove the right bracelet. You'll notice that underneath you can see it's just open, so it just pops right off the figure's wrist, and then we can remove the rest of that there as well. Now, in order to get him fully ready to wrestle, of course, he's got all these rings that are also molded onto his hands there. You can see all the gold rings and everything on his fingers. So he does come with an extra pair of hands that do not have the jewelry on there. These hands just pop right off at the wrists. You can see the pegs there. Also, the bracelet on the left arm will then be removed that way. You have to take the hand off first. So then we can just pop the new hands in place just like so. Actually works out very well. It's a nice tight grip on those pegs. And just like that, we now have a Mr. T who's ready to wrestle. So I know that there's been some confusion as to why he's wearing the blue tights. Of course, if we're thinking back to WrestleMania, the very first WrestleMania with Mr. T, he's wearing red tights, and there was a lot of confusion for the blue tights. Now, Mattel did come out and say that they based the blue tights off of the very first Saturday night's main event. It's amazing because it's hard to find pictures of that online, but I turned on the network and I went to the very first Saturday night's main event from 1985, and in that, Hulk Hogan defends against Cowboy Bob Orton, and Mr. T is in his corner. And Mr. T is indeed wearing blue tights, just like this with the white stripes. But it's worth noting, he doesn't have these knee pads. He's not wearing gold boots like this figure. He's actually got one red boot and one white boot. And he's not wearing the army jacket. Instead, earlier in the night, he was wearing a black Saturday Night's Main Event shirt. And then when he's out with Hulk Hogan for the beginning of the match, he's wearing a red Hulkamania shirt. So the blue tights definitely came from that. But the overall look of this figure is definitely like a hodgepodge of different Mr. T looks. It certainly doesn't seem to be based off of one actual appearance of Mr. T, which is interesting. It's kind of surprising that Mattel didn't just go for the all in WrestleMania 1 look, since that's like the most common look that you would think of for Mr. T in the WWE or WWF. But it is what it is. So it's the Elite body, if you're not already familiar with that. The articulation is really nice on these guys. The head kind of rolls around on a ball joint there. You got the nice ball-like joints at the shoulder, so the arms can go outwards, forwards, backwards. Swivels at the bicep. You got a single joint at the elbow. Swivels at the wrist, and the hinge joints at the wrist. You got the ab crunch there in the torso. You got the waist twist there. You got the hinges there at the thighs, so legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards. Swivel at the thigh cut. You got bends at the knees. Those knee pads are just plastic over that, but they don't hinder the articulation. You got swivels at the boot, and then the ankles can move forwards and backwards, as well as slightly move side to side. So really nice articulation. It's real tight on this guy here. The thighs are a little loose, you can see, but it's not like to the point where their legs are like floppy and he's standing okay. So it's not too terribly bad on this. And all in all, the paint is really good on here. I mean, I love the nice clean blue of the tights. I love those shiny golden boots with the different colored laces. I think those look really cool. And then there's the head sculpt. So I'm looking at the head sculpt there and I'm trying to compare it to pictures of Mr. T. And I think the likeness is decent. When you look at pictures of Mr. T and compare it to this, like, they definitely did a great job getting all the wrinkles in his brow there. Those seem to match up really good. He's got quite the scowl showing his teeth on this figure. I almost wish we didn't have the teeth showing, but all in all, he is a pretty decent looking figure. And all of the extra accessories certainly make this guy really fun, and combining that with the special packaging, I can definitely see this being a figure that a lot of people are going to want to add to their collections. And I think he's going to have a wider appeal outside of the standard WWE action figure collectors, because I think there's going to be fans like 80s collectors or Mr. T fans or what have you that are just going to want to add this guy to their collection because he's such a pop culture icon. I could totally see that happening. Also worth mentioning, I mean, you can see right here, like, even without the jacket, it's pretty cool to kind of like put all Mr. T's jewelry on there. So it does give you several different ways you can pose this guy around, lots of different looks for this particular action figure. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this was meant to be the San Diego Comic-Con 2020 exclusive, but with that show being canceled, Mattel is finding different ways to sell this figure. He was put up for pre-order earlier this month on Entertainment Earth, and that pre-order sold out. However, with the information that Mattel sent me with this figure, it also says pre-orders for him are going to open up on July 22nd at MattelCreations.com. So it looks like we will have another chance to pick this figure up there. I will make sure I put that information in the video description below. Once again, special thanks to Mattel for sending this along so we can get a good look at him outside of the packaging. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.